Hello everyone, I hope you are all well. Today is November the 15th, 2024. We are officially into the second international break of the Premier League season, and I can't lie, I am so bored. So in order to try and kill the boredom, I've decided to give you my Premier League team of the season so far. Let's get straight into it. First of all, in goal, this would have easily been Alisson before he got injured, but by virtue of that injury, I don't think he has played enough games so far this season, so I will look elsewhere. And there's a couple of names you could look at here, even somebody like Sells of Forest, who I think has had a very good season. But I'm going to say David Raya. I think, especially the first 6 or 7 games of this season, he was probably Arsenal's best player. Now, over the last number of weeks, through this kind of bad form that Arsenal have had, I'm not sure if he has maintained the same standards, but he has saved Arsenal already this season on numerous occasions, even in the Champions League. So I think he deserves his spot in this team for now. On to the defence. At right back, now I would struggle to listen to any other player compared to this guy in his position this season, at least. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Defensively excellent this season. Offensively, as he always is, excellent so far this season. And I think a lot of people have touched on his defensive abilities improving this season. And I think they have improved, but he's never been a bad defender. He just kind of gets too much criticism at times for maybe a mistake. He gets over-criticised, but he's been fantastic this season. He, for me, is easily the best player in that position. My 2 centre-backs. First up is Virgil van Dijk. Still the best centre-back in the world for me. Last season, Premier League team of the season. This season, if anything, he has been even better. In his 30s, he's not slowing down. He is so solid. He's still got all the attributes that he had in his prime. Beside him, I'm going with Ibrahima Konate. And I think, if anything, he's potentially been even better than Virgil van Dijk this season. The biggest thing with Konate always was his fitness. And this season so far, touch wood, he has stayed fit. And he's been absolutely flawless. And finally, to round off my defence, at left back, I'm going to go with Josko Gvardiol. I think he has either been City's best player or maybe second best player, whatever you think, this season. He's got a few goals. I think he's a leader in that team. Even in his early days at the club, I think you could see that. He's versatile. He can play in a lot of different positions, and I rate him very highly. I could see him being at Manchester City, being a mainstay, an important player in that team for many years to come. On to my midfield. At DM, Ryan Gravenberch. A lot of Liverpool fans were really annoyed that the Zubimendi transfer didn't go through in the summer, and I think all of those supporters now have completely changed their minds, because Ryan Gravenberch is on the form of his life. He showed signs last season of kind of quality and, ability, but you could never see this happening this season. He has been absolutely unbelievable. He's got how many Man of the Match awards? I'd say it must be about 6 or 7, even at this early stage of the season. And he's one of those players that, maybe you could even say like Konate, that slot has just brought on an extra level. My next midfielder in front of Gravenberch, I am going for Moises Caicedo. I must say, I didn't buy into a lot of what Chelsea fans were saying last season about him being so great. I thought he was decent, to be honest. I didn't think he was bad. But this season, I think since Enzo Maresca has came in, he has been absolutely superb. He's arguably been their best player, along with a certain somebody else. He looks like the player that Chelsea signed from Brighton. I was at the Liverpool and Chelsea game last month, and he was the one Chelsea player that really, really stood out. And then finally, to round off the midfield, I'm going with Cole Palmer, another Chelsea player, but I think Chelsea have been quite good this season. Obviously, Palmer is, you would say, their best player. Obviously he scored 4 goals in 1 half against Brighton, which is just insane. The potential that this guy has is absolutely mad. I've seen lately that people were saying that he doesn't turn up in big games. I think that is a massive lie. He's already scored a lot of goals against big sides and in big games. And this season, he's just continued on from last season. He's a fantastic player, and I would say a future world-class player without a doubt. And then finally on to the front three. Mohamed Salah, the easiest pick in this team. The best player in the Premier League so far this season. Without a doubt, one of the best players in the world so far this season. And he has been one of the best players in the world, I think, ever since he came to Liverpool. But this season, even into his 30s, he keeps producing. 8 goals, 6 assists, 10 goals and 10 assists already this season. He is the best winger the Premier League has ever seen. And that is a fact. On the left, Luis Diaz. And I'm not going to lie, I had my doubts about Luis Diaz. Even as soon as last season, his final product has just never been there. He's really good with the ball at his feet, but he always seemed to kind of just stand in shock when he gets near to the goal. But this season that has completely changed. Another player that Arne Slot has unlocked their max potential in. He's been absolutely fantastic. And finally, then at striker, a lot of people would just pick the obvious name here and not think about it. But not me. I have been giving this some thought. And look, Erling Haaland has 12 goals in 11 Premier League games this season. That's phenomenal for any player. That's pretty normal for his standards. And I never like to use a player's standards against them. I hate that when a lot of people do that for Liverpool players. But in this case, I think what Chris Wood has done so far for Nottingham Forest this season is unbelievable. And I think Nottingham Forest deserve a player in this team so far with how good they've been this season. So I'm going to say Chris Wood is my striker. 8 goals in 11 games so far this season. He's been an absolute revelation. Another player who's into his 30s and he's still producing. So there is my team. Let me know in the comments your Premier League team of the season so far. Let me know if you agree or you disagree with my team. Like, subscribe, all of that, please. I would massively appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next one. Up the Reds!